Hello, everyone. Welcome to another coaching call. We've got Qasim and myself here, and we are excited to talk about some of the changes in our brand new pricing page. Yay!
Yeah.
I know, Qasim, you've worked really hard on this.
Harder than was necessary, to be honest with you. It became kind of like an ever-revolving obsession. It was far too iterative. I think I got scared, maybe is the word. And yeah, spent some time in the sandbox that was just unnecessary.
Well, but the result is it's a clear page, and well, I'll just let you sell it. It's your thing.
Okay. So just updating everybody. First of all, if you have any questions, we've moved from Easy Webinar because it was not a viable solution for us. And we're on Zoom now. And Zoom is, it's way more solid. It already feels better. So if you have any questions, there's a chat pane where you can post any questions that you have throughout this talk. And then we really encourage questions from our live audience. Jennifer, I see you just joined. Thanks so much for being here. So anything that comes up, it's just going to add to the conversation. Same thing with Facebook Live. We're looking at the Facebook Live feed. So if you have any questions, feel free to lob them over. And we can't wait to hear from you. All that said, we changed a lot. When we first started, which was 2 years ago, the way that we were marketing Montessori schools was different than it is now. And what was working was a little different than what it is now. And we realized that it required less of a tweaking of the knob, so to speak, and more of just a complete and massive overhaul. So I'm going to explain part of what we did, and then it will also play into just the overarching strategy that we're using now, specifically to help schools with drive new admissions. Because Nido marketing does a lot, but our real goal is the growth of Montessori schools. And so we're going to talk a little bit about admissions. How was that for an introduction, Deneen? Did I do okay?
Yeah. Well, and I think part of our growth is that we continue to get feedback. You know, we continue to understand what schools truly need, and also how we're communicating what we do. You know, this digital marketing is oftentimes a whole new world for Montessori schools. So it's important to be able to help bridge that understanding in this digital world. So
Absolutely.
that's why we keep growing and changing and adjusting, because we want to make sure that we're being as helpful to you as possible, you know, as you grow your school.
And we're growing. I mean, we've been kind of, the last couple of weeks have been a roller coaster a little bit. We've just been onboarding new members like crazy. It's awesome.
Yeah, I love it. It's fun.
Yeah, that's great. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because I want to show everybody the new pricing page. Deneen, can you see the pricing page right now?
Yep.
Awesome. So to get here from the Nido marketing homepage, you just click on this little button that says pricing. And we've broken it down into 3 separate facets. There's planes, and these are the same membership planes that we've always offered, just the services within those planes are adjusted. And another way to think of planes is packages. So we chose the word planes because it fits within Montessori nomenclature, but these are service packages or bundles, however you want to think about it. But if you want to engage with Nido on multiple levels, this is probably the best place to start, because this allows you to take advantage of a lot more of what we do than just purchasing individual services. However, some of the feedback that we received on a pretty consistent basis was people wanted to customize their service offerings. And initially, we only had the 4 planes and nothing else. So what we did is we broke out the individual services, and I'll go over those briefly, so that, you know, if you say, hey, gosh, I really just want this, then you can go in and cherry pick and kind of build a marketing program that works for you and your school. And then the last thing we did was we broke out our courses. And I'll actually go over that first because it's the easiest. So instead of having to join the second plane, you can purchase courses individually for a one-time fee. And all of the courses right now are a flat fee, $49. We might adjust this if we have much, much larger courses. But right now, I think it's a pretty fair price given the value that we're offering. And then, of course, you can always just join the second plane. So second plane members for $47 a month get access to all of our courses, all past courses, and any future courses that we push out. And if you intend on engaging a lot with our education, this is a good option for you. There's also quite a bit more included in the second plane. You get our social posts, which is kind of cool. We send, we have a Montessori trained writer who creates social posts for every school day, and second plane members have access to that and some of our resources and some other cool stuff. But that's the courses section. So people can now purchase courses individually, which has been happening, and that's really cool for us too, because we get to see specifically what topic people are interested in. Outside of the courses, I'm going to dive into the planes because this is what has changed the most. So our first plane membership, still our most popular for obvious reasons. It's free and it will be free forever. I think this has been a concern from some people that, it's going to lead into some type of upsell or ascension. When we started this, we wanted to provide a place for Montessorians to go to learn and collaborate and receive resources that didn't cost anything. And this is still critically important to us. We want to help with the growth of Montessori schools, even schools that can't afford a marketing team or marketing program. And so that's what the first plan is. And it's robust. This isn't a token offering. We have some really robust courses. You have access to our forum, which means you have access to our almost 700 members. We have 700 member schools. We do live weekly webinars like this one. It's every week, every Thursday. And so first plane is still available to you. The second plane, of course, includes everything the first plane includes, but you also get our entire course library, access to our resources and downloads, and our resources are really, I think, amazing. There's white papers that Matt wrote himself. We've got things like a templated email nurture. We have a templated enrollment agreement, a really significant library of courses that can help a Montessori school, and then, of course, the daily social posts. Janine, do I need to pause? How am I doing?
I think, well, great. I think it's really helpful to know this. Could you talk a little bit about how each plane, when you go through it, each plane fits a particular type of school or person? So,
yes.
Who is good for the second plane? Who's good for the first plane? Because
that's a great question.
As we move into our services, it's clear there's a theme that comes through as you move through.
The planes are meant to be kind of a ladder. We're trying to build a foundation. So you don't need to dive straight into the fourth plane, even if you can afford it. In some instances, it might actually make a lot more sense for a school to start with the first plane because there's so much foundation building that needs to be done, and it can be overwhelming if you start at the highest tier. And of course, that's based on where you are with your marketing and what you've built. So what we tried to do is we tried to create a pseudo curriculum. And the first plane is great for schools that have zero marketing in place, especially digital marketing. If your website is either non-existent or just something that you're not very proud of, if you're not sure where to start, I'd say start with the first plane. It's low risk, obviously, and there's quite a bit in the way of resources. The second plane, I think, is really good for those schools that they want to do it themselves. So you don't have the budget to hire an agency like us, but you really want to be aggressive in your marketing. The second plane is where you should go because we teach you everything and we truly hold nothing back. That's something I'm really proud of about Nido. Our intention isn't to keep all the secret sauce locked away and then make you hire us. We teach you everything that we do for our members. And if you can do it yourself, if you have the time and the wherewithal, that's awesome. Good for you. And if you don't, then we have our ascended planes. So the second plane is what I would call the DIY plane, the do-it-yourself plane. The third plane is what I would call the do-it-with-you plane. So we still give you all the same resources. We also have something called the Montessori Starter Kit. And the Montessori Starter Kit is something that was born out of necessity because so many schools came to us and said, hey, we really want to join, but we don't have anything in place. And so at the third plane level, the first thing we do is with the starter kit is we'll do things like deploy your Google Analytics and install it on your site. That way you can actually track what's happening, who's coming, where they're coming from, how long they're staying, etc. We help you set up your Calendly. We help you set up your MailChimp. We help you do everything necessary in order to take advantage of all of our services. That way you don't sign up and then have to go back to the drawing board. There are still some do-it-yourself elements of the third plane, but so much of it, I think we do the hard part. Is that fair to say, Deneen? We do kind of the heavy lifting and then pass it over to the school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's so essential to have that foundation because that's going to position you well for marketing.
One great example of the done with you is our content. So we have this Montessori content package, and we, again, our Montessori trained writer creates a blog post or article for every week. And the blogs are amazing, just phenomenal book lists. We cover topics that are really important to Montessorians. Our members make recommendations and suggestions all the time, and we always take those into account. So things like the importance of the kindergarten year and covering Montessori math, because these are unique topics they're hard to articulate sometimes. And you obviously know them and understand them, but you might not have the time it takes to write about it. So you have access to our entire library of content. And the library content, I just want to share this real quick because I think this is one of our coolest offerings. The library of content is evergreen. And so when you look at our monthly blogs, you can see we have all of the articles we've ever written since we started. And so, you know, our soft launch was a little bit earlier than this, but we launched in January of 2018. And you'll see you have access to every one of these articles. So you don't have to use the articles in the sequence that we give them. You can use any article that you want at any point in time. And to have this library of content available to you to help nurture prospects, help with parent education, help with your sales process. I know sales isn't a word that we like to use, but that's what the admissions process is. And so if you can educate the people that are, you know, considering your school, this is just an amazing way to do it. And what's nice about it too is when you want to take a consultative approach to selling, it's really helpful to be the source of the source, because anything that you say is contextualized within that kind of buyer-seller relationship. But when you share content with them and you're the source of the source, it now elevates you in that conversation and makes you the consultant, which is really helpful to have. And so housing this content on your website, I can't stress the importance of this enough. And this is available to all of our third plane members. In addition to this, we also have, drum roll, email newsletters that go out every week. Typically, the email newsletters refer to the article that we wrote, but they also include prompts for you to insert your own content. So, you know, what's going on? What special events do you have? What type of news is relevant to your school? What are the things that you want to alert parents to? And it's a really good way. Again, we've done the heavy lifting. So you don't have to sit there and think every week, like, goodness, what am I going to say? Instead, you just open up our email template and there's already content available to you. You fill in the blanks and then blast it out using something like MailChimp. And again, available to all of our third plane members. Our social posts, our stock photos, and then I'll just scroll through this library real quick of resources available to you. This is available to all of our second plane members and up, most of these resources. So that's the content package. Third plane members also have access to our Montessori website package. This is huge. The website, I think, has been one of the primary sticking points for most of our members. It's hard to build a website. It takes a lot of time. I can't tell you how many schools I hear say things like, oh yeah, it took us, you know, a year and a half before we got our website live. And then once it's live, you have to worry about things like hosting, getting hacked, downtime, keeping your site speed updated. Google rolls out a new algorithm, so now everything changes. Oh, we have to add an SSL certificate, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When you purchase our Montessori website package, we take care of the website. First of all, we have a templated website built. It's done. And so we get to come in and we customize your colors, your logo, the images, the content. So we make it your own. So, you know, it is a template, it is a theme. There are certain restrictions, but it was built specifically for Montessori schools in mind. So we have, you know, call outs and placeholders for things like tuition requests and scheduling a tour. It's based off of everything that Matt Hillis, who is the founder of Nido Marketing and runs Bergamo Schools in Sacramento, it's based off of everything that he learned over the years of growing his school from 200 students to 500 students. And we just put all of that into a template. So you now have that template available to you. And the best part is we take care of hosting, which is the hardest part of managing a website. So that's the Montessori website package. The coolest thing about our website is you can make all the changes you want to make yourself. So this isn't like other website subscriptions where now you're, you know, beholden to an agency, and anytime you want to make a change, it's going to take, you know, 4 weeks and they're going to charge you a bunch of money. We have a really, really intuitive admin panel where you can log in, and as easy as updating a Facebook post, you can make changes to content, add new pages, make changes to images, add a blog, etc. So really robust. And then I think maybe the crown jewel of the third plane is you get to choose from one of our done for you services. And we have a lot of done for you services. So I've got an entire list here. You can choose our Google Ads Management Lite, which is where I would point schools that want to grow. If you need new admissions, you want to go to Google. I realize that there's a lot of noise in the space and a lot of people push Facebook and they push it really hard. I don't believe that Facebook is a proper conduit for new admissions any longer. It used to be. Facebook changed their targeting, their segmentation, because they were actually doing a lot of bad things. Mark Zuckerberg had to go in front of Congress last year to testify about their data usage. And as soon as that happened, they basically ripped the rug out from everybody in terms of the way they allowed us to segment and target. Facebook is an excellent resource for branding. So if you say, hey, I have all the students that I want, but I really want to stay top of mind to, you know, my parents and my community, Facebook is a great place to make sure that people see your content, see your videos, continuously see your logo. It's a great place for branding. And when I say Facebook, I'm referring both to Facebook and Instagram. Google Ads is where you want to go if you want to grow. And this is a new addition to our third plane. Third plane members used to not have the ability to use Google Ads. You can now use Google Ads. We limit you to a $500 a month budget, because anything more robust than that is honestly, it's just too difficult to manage for us inside of a package as small as the third plane. But that should be more than enough to really prove concept within the realm of Google. If you're not worried about branding or new admissions at all, you can choose any one of these other done-for-you services. So unlimited website management. If you say, hey, I don't want to make changes to my own website, that's hard and cumbersome and time-consuming. We have a really easy to use form. You just go and fill out our form and tell us anything that you want, and we'll make as many changes as you'd like. We only take one change request in queue at a time, so if you bundle your requests, you'll get a little bit more out of it. But there's no limit to it. We're not going to nickel and dime you and say, oh, you only get 2 hours of development a month. We're not here to play that game. We want to support Montessori schools, and so we've chosen to make this an unlimited service. We can also do monthly content management instead. So if you say, hey, I love the blogs, the emails, the social posts, those are great. I don't have time to schedule those things. Or it's hard, or I'm afraid of it. Then we'll do it for you. We'll schedule your blogs on your website. We'll schedule your email blasts to go out through MailChimp, and we'll schedule your social posts on Facebook. And that way you have an entire month's worth of content just rolling. And anytime anybody visits your site or subscribes to your newsletter, you're allowed to position yourself as a thought leader without some of the heavy workload involved in doing those things. Unlimited graphic design, same story for our schools that do a ton of design. You're creating newsletters and postcards and brochures, and you want social images and just kind of fun things that you want to send parents. This is an amazing service for you because, again, there's no limit. We take one request in queue at a time, but you can make as many requests as you like, and we'll just start from the top and we'll work down. And if there's something urgent that you want to place into our queue, you can absolutely do that too. And then lastly, if you want to, you can take us up on our monthly consulting. This is actually with Deneen, who I think has a really, and I'm not trying to pander, Deneen, forgive me because I'm going to embarrass you a little bit, but a truly brilliant way at looking at things like your admission process or your tour process. The way you're structuring different things at your school. She has a phenomenal breadth of experience inside of Montessori schools, as well as now working with Nido on a consultative basis. Deneen, can you talk a little bit about that monthly consulting and what's included?
Yeah, well, firstly, this is kind of where my heart lies, because what I get to do is truly understand your story and then connect you to what we offer and what we can do. And I've been with Nido since June. And the process of learning, because, I was in the classroom for 8 years and now I'm in digital marketing. So that's a shift. And I imagine that some of our heads of schools have also been in a similar situation where you go from the classroom to more of an administrative role. And that process can be challenging. So I love this part of my job because what I get to do is be that partner with you as you figure out what your marketing journey looks like and what we can do for you. So I'm excited about this edition for sure.
I am too. Thank you for diving into that. And what I think is really cool about it is it's customized to the school. So it's not as though we're just saying, hey, here's a template that you follow. You jump on a call, do what I guess I would call a discovery, maybe try to identify their pain points and then help build a sort of a custom curriculum, let's say, in order to guide them to their goals. Did I say that okay?
Yeah, and even just understanding what it is that we do. I think, when we look at website, how important your website is, right? Mm-hmm. So that prospects are able to easily follow who it is that you are and who you're trying to attract. And then also how they can engage with you. So even that process, looking at your admission steps, is it easy for your prospects to be able to know who you are? So what information do you give them before they walk in the door? So we can look through all of that. How are you answering the phones? That's another one. Who is your point of contact? And we can get down to the very details of what it is that you're doing, and then create a plan from there.
That's so exciting. I'm going to dive into the fourth plane now. The fourth plane is where we want our schools to go. And it's because this is where we see the most success with our schools. Our intention when we built Nido was to provide Montessori schools with everything that they needed in the realm of digital marketing so they just don't have to worry about it. Where the third plane is to do it with you, the fourth plane is to done for you. We handle everything that we have identified as a core strategy to help and grow your school. So you, of course, get everything that was included in the third plane. You also have a dedicated marketing guide. And right now, Deneen, you're our dedicated marketing guide. And as we grow, I imagine we'll bring others on. But that means that you have access to someone when you want to, ask questions or you have issues. There's some hand-holding there, I guess is the way I'll put that. Hopefully that doesn't sound condescending at all. And then, most importantly, you have all of our services. So it's an all-you-can-eat menu. It's everything that we offer, everything I just went over in the third plane. You have access to our Google Ads management, the full suite. There's no limit on ad budget here. We'll run Facebook and Instagram ads if you want to do, some branding or event management. And then, of course, the unlimited website maintenance, the content management, the unlimited graphic design, and the monthly consulting. Everything that Nido offers is included in the fourth plane. And if we ever add a service, we're going to add it to the fourth plane. So you're instantly grandfathered in, which I think is pretty cool. I won't tell you that you need to start at the fourth plane because it might make more sense to start at one of the earlier planes, but this is where we want to grow schools too. We don't want it to be an expense. The fourth plane should be something that produces more revenue than it costs. So, and really, it's actually not that difficult. For a lot of our schools, based on your tuition rate, if you get one new student a season, I guess. What's the word I'm looking for, Deneen?
A school year?
Yeah, one new student a school year. Thank you. I just had a brain fart. That student just kind of paid for the cost of the fourth plane, and then every subsequent admission, again, it depends on your tuition rate. So maybe it's 2, but every subsequent admission ends up becoming 100% net profit over and above your costs. So the fourth plane can be a very valuable service to the schools that have the wherewithal to grow. And I'll stop beating that drum. How did I do with the planes, Deneen? Anything you wanted to touch on or correct me on?
No, I think, we have the big picture of it too. I just wanted to say about the fourth plane and the total investment. I like to look at it because it's $997 for our services, but it's also, you have ad spend. So we ask for at least $1,000 at the fourth plane. Looking for the full year, it's $24,000 a year. And if you add in, depending on what your tuition rates are, you add in 2 new enrollments, you've already broken even. But of course, that's not where we want to stop. Let's say you're opening up a new classroom, or you have a couple holes in these different programs. We can adjust your campaigns to target specific programs, specific families that can help you grow your enrollment. And so it is a investment. $24,000 sounds like a lot, but when you're bringing in 10, 15, 20 new enrollments a year that you otherwise may not have access to, it's a revenue generator.
Absolutely. That's really well said. And those are real numbers from some of our schools. We've had some schools that have done very well in the fourth plane. We haven't had a failing campaign in the fourth plane just yet. My disclaimer there is that we're at the mercy of an organic ecosystem. So when we're marketing on your behalf, it's not just us working with you inside of the Google ecosystem. It's also an analysis of your competitive market and the prospects that are available to you. And so one of the things that's really important for us to do is manage expectations. Anytime we run any level of marketing for our schools, the very first, I'd say 90 days is exploratory, and we need to see what's working and what's not. And then after that, we work ourselves into what we like to call the golden ratio, which is mean for every dollar I put in, how many dollars do I get out? So I don't want to paint a picture that it's a magic bullet, because it's not. And I think any marketing agency that says that is probably just trying to sell something. However, it's been wildly successful for our schools so far. And I think that's because we've also been willing to pivot. Where Facebook used to work and it's not working quite as well anymore, we made the change that was necessary, and we'll continue to do so. So I'm not trying to talk anybody out of it. I just want to make sure that we're being as clear and honest and open as we can about what's possible, what's not, and where the risks lie. Last thing to go over is our done-for-you services that are ad hoc. Now, you've already been exposed to all these services on this call. These are all the services that were included in either the third or fourth plane. However, you can now purchase them individually. So if you want the Montessori website package, it's $50 a month. And that includes our entire template, customized for you with hosting. Now, we don't make any changes on your behalf. If you want the website maintenance, that's a separate service, but you'll have the website and everything that comes with it. And that's a $50 a month licensing fee. The Montessori starter kit, if you just want, if you say, hey, just get me started, do everything that I need to do up front and I'll take it from there. You can see that is here for $470. What's really cool is that's a one-time fee, and it includes a 1-year subscription to the second plane, which is awesome. I think this is one of our best values for schools that are just getting started. And then I won't go over each individual service again because we've already discussed them, but you can see that we have all of the services broken out on an ad hoc basis. And so if you kind of want to pick and choose, you can do so. One thing I will point out is there's a significant value to the planes. If you were to add up the services that we're offering on an ad hoc basis, you save quite a bit when you go with one of the planes. And there's an economy of scale for us when we have a school that's taking us up on multiple services, which is why we've structured it this way. So we're able to pass those cost savings on along to you. But that's an explanation of our new program and pricing page. If we have any questions, I'd love to hear them from either our Facebook Live group or our live attendees. Other than that, Deneen, anything else you think we need to go over?
I did have one scenario. So what if somebody is a second plane member and they want an additional service? They buy a service in addition to second plane, right? And same for the third plane. Like, let's say they've picked a fourth plane service, which is a part of their third plane, but they want website maintenance, and so they can purchase that. How does that work?
It's exactly as you just outlined it. So if you're on the third plane and you say, hey, I don't want to make the full jump to the fourth plane, but I would like to add website maintenance. The website maintenance is $250 a month. And so you can just bolt that right on, and you're lower than the fourth plane would be, and you still have access to that kind of myriad of services. And so there's a mix and match opportunity here where you can take planes and add bolt-on services. Same thing with the second plane. In some instances, I may try to talk schools out of it, depending on what it is that they want. With the third plane, we allow people to swap services on a month-by-month basis. And so you might say, hey, for the first 6 months of the year, we really want to run Google Ads Lite because our admissions is important. But then after that, we're going to change over to website maintenance after we feel like we've gotten full, or let's say our admission season is closed. I think I'd rather see schools toggling back and forth and just being intelligent about the time usage than trying to do too much at once, especially if there are budget concerns. And again, it's case by case. I mean, it might make perfect sense for a school to do that, but that's where we get consultative on our end and make sure the school's making the right decision for them.
Right. Yeah, and it provides a lot more flexibility, and customizing what your true journey is inside of marketing. So I love it. I love that we have these options now.
I do too. I'm really excited about it. I think this was the right way for us to go. Yeah, the four planes made a lot of sense for us when we first launched, especially because this was the first time we'd ever offered this to a library of other schools, and so we didn't know what would happen or how people would respond. But now that we've gotten a really good sense as to what schools need and how to engage with them, I think that this was it's just the perfect fit.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yay.
Yeah.
Nice. Good. This will be a good overrun. So if you were not able to join the call, hopefully, you can watch the video and it'll be a quick run through. The pricing page does have videos that you've created, Qasim, that goes over each plane. So they're usually between 5 and 10 minutes. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. I think the longest one is 10, but they should fall under that for the most part.
Okay. So yeah, if you're curious about a particular plane or particular service, check that out. And then next week we're having Matt join us for Ask Matt Anything. So I'm have him back.
Yeah, I like to make those hard, by the way. So throw him some.
Well, you should join that call.
Yeah.
I think it's been a long time since the three of us have been on a call. So
it has. Yeah, it's time for a reunion.
I think so.
Let's do it.
Okay, put it on your calendar.
Awesome. Done.
All righty. Good to see everyone.
All right. Thanks so much.